sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show live on a Wednesday night. Jason Davis and Jared Dubois. A momentous occasion to be doing a live American soccer podcast. Mr. Dubois, America has again found itself at one of those moments. And it is, for those that don't know, and maybe those who will be listening on podcast later, we're live as Major League Soccer players across the country have chosen not to play games, are striking over racial justice and the lack thereof, and what happened with the gentleman shot 7 times in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the fact that 2 people are now dead because some kid with a gun who was out, why he was there, that's we can get into that later. But, we're here in an important moment, Jared. It's definitely one of those interesting times to be doing this.
Yeah, so since it is a live show, I feel a need to kind of say where we're at right now. So one game going on tonight. Orlando Nashville kicked off. They're starting their second half right here. It looks like they're going to play their second half. 5 games have canceled tonight. Players from most of those teams making decisions as far as we can tell from Twitter. Obviously, they're controlling the narrative. But as it looks like a number of players decided to do what I think you and I think is the right thing. But that doesn't really matter. It really matters how they feel.
Let's start by saying that this began, and I can't say that the MLS players wouldn't have done this if it hadn't happened in the NBA. But this started with the NBA, right, today. And again, I think what we saw over the last 24 hours from NBA players, and I don't have any of the specific quotes in front of me, and my apologies for that, but they said things like, we come out here, we're wearing Black Lives Matter T-shirts, we're wearing these racial justice messages.
It's written on the court.
We're doing all these things, and what's changing? What is actually happening? Again, James Blake gets shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin, in the back 7 times by police officers, and they don't see the change. They don't feel like what they're doing is actually impacting anything. So again, on top of the other escalations that have happened in Kenosha, players felt like they had to make a statement, and they did. And it's Giannis and the Bucks and everybody else, especially the Bucks, because they're right there. Kenosha is in Wisconsin, and so is Milwaukee, and I think that's important to point out.
Yeah, and it started kind of even yesterday with the Detroit Lions not practicing, leaving their all showing up together out in front. Yeah, out in front of their practice facility yesterday, going home and putting up a sign saying that they weren't going to be practicing that day and that they were taken off. So, and the Milwaukee Bucks, it's even bigger. This is a playoff game tonight. I mean, the NBA is supposed to be doing their playoffs right now, and it just doesn't feel important. And we were here a few months ago. We didn't even record the last time this was kind of going on. Yeah. We chose to tonight, kind of last minute. We were still going to get this going on, and also maybe people want to talk about it.
Yeah, I think look, I feel a need to say something from whatever platform we have, and I don't know exactly how to express my feelings. I think it's difficult, but I can tell you that I respect the hell out of the players that chose not to play. I respect those, and I think what we're getting is some trickling in of news. Apparently, Julian Baba didn't come out for the second half of that Orlando-Nashville game. And
you and I talking before the show started, we were talking about the fact that Tesho Akindele not in the match for this, and wondering if that Nashville-Orlando game goes on, if Tesho was in that game. And we made the comment that Julian Baba is, and we know that how involved he is. Yeah. So it makes sense that he didn't come out, but there's a lot of questions to be asked about this first game. And listen, I don't want to throw people under the bus or anything like that. I think there was a few things at play here. The first game of the night kicked off, and a lot of the more outspoken players, I think, were in the later games. They're probably still getting the stuff together, organizing. Hey, what do you guys feel? Orlando and Nashville had to kick off first. Like I said, Tesho Akindele not in that game. I think that game went on because it was first. I think that's what happened. But the question to be asked is, why did it have to come from the players? Why did the players have to make this decision at all?
Okay, I know Major League Soccer issued a statement that I skimmed and felt like
Statement, dude, is a
no,
big cup of vanilla ice cream.
no, there was nothing in it, and that's why I definitely thought it was piss poor, the effort on Major League Soccer's part and what they put out there, and maybe not just because of the bad statement, but just in general. I think it's important to come from the players. I think it's important that the players be the one who are driving the narrative and sending the message and saying we're striking over this, and I know there are going to be some people out there, and there's some assholes. Sorry, there's some assholes on Twitter right now who are arguing about this and this doesn't do anything and what's the point and what is their message even like. If you're asking those questions, then this is beyond you, and
The point is you're talking about it.
well, that's obviously it, right? And so again, I think it needs to be from the players this message that hey, we don't think that these things that these leagues have added to our events, and whether it be a kneeling before the kickoff or t-shirts or whatever,
Right.
that is not enough, right? And maybe not playing a soccer game doesn't stop police brutality, but obviously the whole point is to bring attention to the issue, right? To this thing that keeps happening.
It also makes the league look like a hypocrite. I mean, you're willing to take all the good marketing that comes along when it. I hope I don't. I'm not saying this the wrong way when I say it.
No, I know what you're saying.
It was easy for MLS to put Black Lives Matter on their T-shirts and put it on their field and to put it in their marketing. Because it was good for the league. It was good marketing.
Well,
what are you going to do now when there's games on the line?
Right.
And you have to either say, do you believe in it? Yes or no?
Yeah. The Overton window has shifted on Black Lives Matter and on some of this messaging, right? And it became good business. And definitely it's worth a cynical take on companies, and Major League Soccer is one of them, and the NBA is another, and taking a look and saying, okay, are they doing this because they really want to bring out this change, or are they doing this because it does speak to a core audience? The demographics break out so that most of the fans of these leagues support this thing. Now, it can be both. It can be a little bit of both. All right. Yeah. You can't strip out the ideas that to make change. I'm sure there are people in Major League Soccer who are pushing for that. I know the editorial team has been very strong on this. I mean, it's not like Matt Doyle and Andrew Eby and all those guys are holding their tongues. They're not. So and that's one.
And they still have jobs, and I give MLS credit for that.
And that's one part of Major League Soccer, right? That's not everything about their organization. So it can be both of those things. And again, I think what we're seeing here, what we're as American soccer fans are responding to, is this notion that, yeah, we love soccer. Soccer is important in our lives, but clearly there are some other things happening in this country that are much more important.
But in the soccer world right now, it's unique as well because MLS is one of the only leagues going on. Like the Champions League's done. The European seasons are done. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone's talking about where Messi's going. We don't get to that. But if in the soccer universe, if there is going to be a soccer league that's going to stand up, first of all, it should be in the country where this is going on. But secondly, it's the only profile that's out there right now. Yeah,
I also think that, it's being pointed out that the USL games are still going on tonight, and I don't want to speak to any of that. Some of this is what kind of power the players actually have, and how much damage they risk to their careers or their pocketbooks if they step out, right? And that's everything. That's the calculation here. And I think the more you have to risk, the greater the message that you're sending. Although that's also, it's also about visibility. And certainly the NBA striking over their games is different than MLS doing so, right? More people are watching the NBA playoffs by factors of 10s and 20s and 100s than watching an MLS game. But I think it's important that all of it counts, right? All of it's meant to help amplify the message. The WNBA players who are right now in the midst of their own bubble tournament, they have more to lose because they're not making much money. If they get docked a paycheck for a game, that's a significant hit to their wallet and their livelihood. So give them credit for doing this too.
And as we had the same conversation with MLS's back, I mean, there's a reason why Carlos Vela is one of the guys that didn't go. Like, he didn't have a financial interest in having to go. Granted, he had other stuff going on in his life as well, his wife and his child. No, I said it before. No shame in him not going, but it's an easier decision. And these guys in USL who are hoping that they even have a place on the team and that their team or league exists next week, it's a different calculation. So I don't begrudge them the fact, but I'm happy to see that the MLS teams at the highest level made the right decisions as the night went on. It just felt like there was a 3-hour window where this conversation could have happened ahead of time, and the national one could have gone on as well.
They did come out for the second half, Orlando and Nashville, and there's at least some reporting, and it's not confirmed, but there's some reporting that this is about the fans that are in the stands, that apparently there's some people there, and the players felt it was wrong to maybe not come out and play.
I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, we're not going to cast aspersions on players and on teams that didn't do this. We're just trying to, again, amplify the message of those that did, right? And to speak about that. And you're seeing players on Twitter right now, obviously NBA players, but MLS players too. I just saw Eddie De La Garza saying we're not just wearing a t-shirt, right? This is about something more, something real, something that has to change.
I'm glad that that's the actual conversations going on. That's the actual conversations that should be going on in the field. And if you're watching ESPN Plus, this is not a plug for them in any way, but if you're watching ESPN Plus and they're filling, and Ray Hudson was the one filling during the Miami and Atlanta game, and one of the people filling, so it's nice to hear his voice. But you see these players milling about. You see these conversations happening, and then you see the guys that are absent. The Luis Robles and the Bradley Guzans were in the tunnel, the captains, the guys that are leading this charge. But you see the solidarity. Teams aren't just talking with their own team. They're with the guys on the other team. They're having these conversations, and this is a weird thing for all of them. And it's a nice peek behind the curtain to see them. And the Miami and the Atlanta teams and the referees all came on the field, lined up for a picture, both starters and subs, and took a picture of all of them on the field, and then they walked off.
And again, I mean, and one thing I just want to add this, right? And obviously this is about police violence, especially police violence against Black people in our country. And we went through all of the protests, and by the way, there are still cities where protests are happening around these issues. It's not like everybody just went back home and said, "Okay, we're done here.
Fix this."
This is still going on. This is still happening. Again, it's about Mr. Blake in Kenosha and being shot, and I'm sure lots of people have seen the horrific video here. And obviously, it's about the police treating people very differently. The kid with the gun who kills 2 people, shoots another, walks right by police. They go charging into the fray of a protest and let that kid walk away. He gets arrested today at home, 20 miles away in Illinois, like nothing happened. And that, if you can't see the difference in treatment, if you don't understand how these police officers are acting differently towards Black people and white people, then I don't know. I don't know where you've been. I don't know how you can possibly process it any other way than that there is an absolute racist mentality. And, is every individual cop racist? I don't know. I can't talk about that, but I can tell
I think as you were talking right now, MLS put up this big banner on their website that says "Justice for Jacob Blake" in black.
I did see that right before we started the show, that it was already up there. So they've had that up there for a couple minutes. Maybe it's opportunistic, but obviously, what are you going to do? Not say something?
I mean, people are going to go to the site to get an idea of what's happening, because I mean, people are going to be tuning in for these games if they don't stock Twitter like we do or have updates on their phone. They're going to be tuning in on their whatever device they have, looking for their game tonight, and it's not going to be there, and that's okay. Yeah.
All right, let's turn to maybe the biggest topic in world soccer. I don't know. I mean, people were making the joke about LeBron James and the decision, and that's 10 years ago now, and all of that, and discussing that
LeBron James was like 22.
Yeah. Was he really? No, he wasn't.
I don't know if it was 10 years ago. Was he 33 right now?
Oh my God. Maybe it wasn't 10. Maybe it was 8. Whatever it was. It was a while ago.
It was a while ago. I mean, it's 3 teams ago.
Yeah. So that's how quick they move in the NBA. But obviously this is even more remarkable because Lionel Messi has only been with one club from the moment he started playing serious soccer. Like, they plucked him out of Rosario, Argentina, and they dropped him in the Barcelona Academy. And then he became Lionel Messi, right? He became this superstar. And now as Barcelona melts down, as they go through the convulsions that are the mismanagement of that club, and obviously dealing with what happened against Bayern Munich in the semifinal of the Champions League and everything else. This is now quarterfinal, semi, whatever one that was. This is now pushing Messi out the door. And, I want to get to the American soccer connection with this, but just to lay it out, there's still a developing situation. There's a question of whether or not the clause in his contract really allows him to leave now, because Barca's saying, oh, the season ended in June and you missed your window. And Messi's like, no, the season ended in August because of COVID and I didn't miss my window. So there's that on the table. This is not
100%. That's lawyer speak, though. He's leaving. If the player doesn't want to be there and you're Messi, and there's no bigger player in the world.
It doesn't do Barcelona any good to make him play. And again, the buyout clause in his contract, this is one of the remarkable things too, is 700 million, and that's 700 million euros. That's like
chic money.
$800 million. It's nuts, right? It's all of MLS. How long could you pay every MLS player with $800 million currently on the books? 5 years,
man.
10 years.
So that's more than that to be potentially. I'm not sure who even the highest paid player in the league is.
Chicharito Hernandez is the highest paid player at $6 million a year.
God, what a waste.
Yeah. So I mean, you could pay Chicharito for Hernandez until time ends.
And he came with broken muscles.
Yeah, he can't keep his muscles unbroken.
What's the warranty on Chicharito?
You got to send him back. Hold on. Did you register your Chicharito? Because I just got a bunch of new appliances, and I got to register all of them, or I don't get any of the warranty protection. Right? Isn't that how that works?
I didn't. You
didn't register your Chicharito Hernandez?
No, I didn't. You know, they offer to you at the checkout counter. You always think you're never gonna have to use it.
Yeah, they always offer you that extra protection. My wife never goes for it. She's like, "That's a scam. $25 for come on, we don't need it." Then your Chicharito Hernandez breaks.
But your point is right. There hasn't been a touchstone moment in soccer in God. I mean, when's the last time a player move was both known ahead of time and had this much hype around it?
Yeah,
I can't remember. Was it when Ronaldo went to Real Madrid? But people kind of knew that was going to happen.
Well, it might have been Neymar to PSG. But
that's not as big as this.
The difference is that Neymar wasn't thought of as the best player in the world. He was the third best player on his team at that point, or maybe the second if you're being kind, because Suarez was intensely good.
You're giving Xavi no run there either.
Well, okay, I don't remember where Xavi was. He was at the end of everything. Okay, the third best attacking player on the team then. Okay, fine, Jared. God, midfield players. No, actually, I'm on that too. All right. We'll come back to Messi because Solomon from Boston has called in, and we want to get to that. Solomon, you're on the air. What's up?
Hey guys, I know it's tough times right now, but I just have a quick question about the protests and what the players done today. Do you think anything will really change if Trump's in office, and if nothing will change, then do you think MLS and other leagues should just continue the boycott, boycott the rest of the season, or how do you think things proceed from here?
That's a good question. I'm gonna let you know.
Okay.
That's heavy.
Yeah, it's definitely heavy, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like it when we go like political stuff like that. But listen, politics and soccer came to our doorstep tonight.
Yes.
And so we're a show that is topical of the moment and what the conversation is going on in America right now, and that's what this one is.
Well, I mean, look, politics are mixed in with everything in general. I don't buy this idea that sports and politics can be separate. And obviously, look, there are lots of black players in Major League Soccer from all around the world, but many of them American. There's lots of players from all different parts of the world. There are players who are Latino, who have names and come from backgrounds where, their communities, especially the ones that grew up in this country, are treated differently. So all of this is on the table for us, Jared.
The question is, will it do anything? And I don't think that there's a way that you can measure it where you're going to have this tangible.
Was that his question? I think his question was.
It was then it moved on from that as well. But his initial thing was, what will it do, or what will it matter? And then his bigger question was, if we don't change anything upstream and up higher.
Well, this is, by the way, he said something about Trump. This is way, way, way bigger than Trump. This says, I don't want to get into the president and the election and all that stuff. Okay. Because
it's 200 years.
Yes. We're not talking about
400 years.
We're not talking about the president, a new president gets elected and everything is better. That's not what this is. Right.
This is about social, systemic, the way we work as a society.
So I want to get to what Solomon asked, which is, knowing that change is going to be hard and difficult and whatever, do you keep doing it? Right. I think his thing was, and I know you mentioned the president, but do you keep doing this? Like, can the players basically say we're striking for the rest of the season? Because we need to send them a stronger message. And by the way, you can only send the message that you're capable of sending, right? So that's their platform. They don't have a bigger platform. So don't give me this thing about nobody cares about what MLS players think. They should just keep playing. No, that's not how this works.
You play the hand that you have in front of you, and this
Yes.
is the hand they have in front of them. I don't think it will go to that point, at least not yet. At the end of the day, there is a reality of the situation that these aren't millionaires.
Yeah.
These are guys that are working a job to bring home money for their families, but they have enough clout, enough of a soapbox, and enough stability financially that they can do something.
By the way, if one more white person in this country, so just blatantly say it out loud, because that's what this is about, getting people who are not affected by these things day to day or aren't seeing their communities victimized in this way. If one more white person becomes aware of this or is truly looking into this, and I think everybody's aware of what happened with Jacob Blake, but it could escape, or you could just not understand, then it's worth it for them. I mean, it's worth it for society, for some guys not to play a soccer game, right? Going forward,
it's like the old adage, like, why vote? Your vote doesn't matter. It's either you believe in it or you don't, and you're free not to, man. If you don't want to take part, or not Solomon, but in general, whoever wants to think about this, if you don't want to participate, I'm not making you. Jason's not making you.
No.
But all we ask is that you get out of the way for the people that are trying to move the conversation forward.
Mm-hmm.
The right lane is for the slower vehicles. Get out of the left lanes. Everyone else is passing you.
Yeah.
You're free to catch up when you can.
Yeah, look,
right now everyone else is in the fast lane.
And some things are bigger than soccer, right? And we will get back to it. Hopefully we'll get back to it. And again, even if, and I know this is going to sound extremely controversial from a guy who works in soccer, who works in sports, and if sports stopped tomorrow, like really truly stopped, I don't know what I would do for a career and for a job and for money and for supporting my wife and my kid and everything else, my future kid. If it was a trade-off, sports stops, and we get actual true racial equality in our country and actual justice, and people aren't being shot for being black in the United States of America, which is essentially what we've got going on. That's just one part of this whole racial inequality thing. I'd take that trade in a second. Of course I would. I think everybody should.
Because at the end of the day, you get to tell your kids about a better life and a better world. Why wouldn't you? You know, that's the whole goal of it. And then once you become a parent, you see it differently, I think. Once you get a kid that has to look at you and say, hey, why are there people in the streets?
Yeah. Yeah, you hope so. You hope that
if you sat down today, because you and your kid are like lifelong Atlanta fans, you're Atlanta till you die. You and your kid, you watch every game together, and you sat down tonight and you turned on the game, and it wasn't there when you turned it on. You didn't know why. Yeah. And your kid asked you, "Hey, how come we're not watching our game tonight?" You have an opportunity,
right? You can tell that story. Okay, we will come back to Lionel Messi and his story, and perhaps landing in Major League Soccer one day. But Roland in St. Louis is on the air and wants to talk about his town and some other stuff. Roland, what's up?
Yeah, so I would just want to talk about St. Louis FC, the USL team, ceasing operations after this year is over, and then MLS coming to St. Louis in 2 years, and following the social media narrative that MLS is eating USL. And I just got to say that's not the case for folks of us here on the ground.
Would you say, is it fair
there's
to say,
a pivotal player.
Is it fair to say, is it fair to say then that it's displacing if it's not eating it?
Well, there's one pivotal figure is Jim Cavanaugh. Jim Cavanaugh owns St. Louis FC, and he is also a minority owner in St. Louis City SC. And that's one individual who is in that Venn diagram between those organizations. And so it's easy to picture yourself, oh, Jim Cavanaugh owns St. Louis FC. He's a minority owner in City SC. So therefore, these things two merge together, and they don't. And the real reason that St. Louis FC is going to cease operations is there's no fans in the stands. There's no concessions. With COVID going on and the restrictions in St. Louis County, it's not financially feasible to put a team out there.
Okay.
So that's the reason why.
Roland, I understand what you're saying. Certainly the business aspects of it. And I talked to one of the founders of the St. Louligans today on my radio. Jared, did you know I have a radio show?
Still?
Yeah, still. They still let me do it. I talked to the.
Wait a minute, Jason.
Yes.
You have a radio show?
I have a radio show, Roland. I'm glad I didn't know that. Inform you of that tonight. I talked to one of the founders of the St. Louligans on my show today, and I don't think he was saying like, "Oh, how dare St. Louis City come in and kill our club, and these guys are assholes, and I hate them." And I think it's just sort of this resigned disappointment, this sadness that this is the way things have to happen. I know there are other indignant people on the internet, Jared, who are saying like, this isn't right, and MLS shouldn't come into this town and take over.
But Roland's point is that no matter what, this is going to happen. The team is not succeeding.
Well,
people aren't going to watch.
Well, no, sure, but I think okay, so yeah, maybe the.
So what's going to make the MLS team different?
Well, it's not.
Go ahead, Roland.
Well, it's not that they won't watch. I mean, the Louligans. I'm not a Louligan. For their 6 seasons, I've had season tickets for 5 years. Not a Louligan. Those guys are awesome. That's not my thing. I'm going to sit in quiet with my buddy Les and drink a beer. But I've been out to the games for 6 years and been behind the organization, and then understanding I can't go to games this year. I can't buy merch or concessions. They're not making money. So,
well, at least you don't have to worry about buying that
and
new
they
merch.
don't. They're not sponsored by or owned by. What's that?
You don't have to worry about buying merch from that new club because it's horrible. Oh my God, that crest!
it's not as bad as Chicago's crest.
Sorry, buddy.
Meh.
Okay, roll it.
So, all right. So anyway, So my point number one was MLS is not eating USL. So I've seen that on Twitter. And that's not the case. And my second point is, Jason, I heard you with Daryl Grove on Total Soccer Show.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. Haven't finished listening. And when are you guys going to hook up with the Soccer Cooligans? That would be an awesome show.
Yeah.
My
appreciate the
third point is.
Go ahead.
My third point is. Yeah. My third point is, my wife is a Wisconsin native who's a librarian. So we turned on the Brewers game, and the Brewers walked off the field based on what happened in Kenosha tonight.
Okay.
And instead, FS1 is playing the Natural. So I was wondering if the Natural could get a sound drop for Wonder Boy.
Oh,
that's actually something we discussed. You know what? I think for the call, Roland. I believe when we were going through the possibilities for Christian Pulisic, it may have come up, the Natural. I think maybe we thought crossing the baseball.
It's a better visual than it is audio. If I remember correctly, I think when the few times they actually talk about it or mention it, but as a lifelong fan of the Natural, like one of my favorite movies, me and my dad's one of the first movies we ever bonded over.
Mm-hmm.
There are some quotable things in there, man. And I love that movie. I was very disappointed later to find out the book is very different.
Oh, I don't think I've read it. Is that's a Kinsella book? Is it Kinsella? No,
I'm trying to think of who the gentleman is. I'm blanking right now, but the book is very different. But I enjoy the movie immensely.
Does he not get shot and hit the winning home run in the book?
He doesn't hit the home run.
Does he die?
No, he strikes out.
He what?
He strikes out.
He strikes out. So more of a Casey at the bat situation than
sorry, I hope I didn't spoil it for those of you guys that didn't read a book that's 80 years old at this point.
Natural book is ruined for me. No,
I want to say one thing about Roland State before we move on. My take is I think MLS is eating USL, but it's shitting it back out because then it comes back out as Portland 1, Portland 2, and Seattle 2, Los Dos. It's coming out in little pebbles.
That's hilarious. It's rabbit turds. You're saying
yes. It is devouring it, digesting it, and putting it out the other side.
I spent some time on this topic today, and I'm thinking about it. I wrote a column about it. I interviewed a St. Louligan about it. I get why people are upset Okay. And I understand that in a perfect world, in a world where Major League Soccer is not
In a world
where Major League Soccer is not the biggest.
that's good for your voice, man.
Look, if we were able to incubate American soccer the same way that the rest of the world did and have these community-based clubs that grow up in these little bubbles and nobody, like, when Chelsea started and when Man United started and when Liverpool started, that was it. You went to the game and watched it, or that was it. Like, there was nothing else, right? There was no television.
It
You
was
weren't
literally
watching.
my rec league. That's what it was. It was a bunch of dudes after work's rec leagues.
If you didn't get into the game, you had to hear about it from somebody else secondhand. There wasn't even radio for them to find out about it, right? So we didn't get to do that. So now with all these other pressures and the fact that in modern soccer, if you don't start with 200 mil, you're really not going to make a dent. It's just not going to raise to that level. I understand the people who love St. Louis FC who don't want to see it die. I understand the people who say, how do we have some clubs that actually have connections with our fans in this country? And St. Louis FC did. And actually, you know what? Let me bring Nikki Soup and Sausage on the show real quick. Can I do that? Can I call up
Physically,
Nikki
you can, yes.
Yeah.
What's going on, Jason?
So I want to ask you real quick. There he is. Your team was in the USL. Now, it was a brief run, okay? But your team was in the USL. I know there were 30,000 people in the stands, but it's got to be a different vibe once you move to Major League Soccer.
But in the sense of Cincy, MLS ate USL, then threw it back up.
Well, are you saying that Cincinnati is
No, I mean, they came out the other end. They came up. They came up. They didn't go down.
Regurgitation?
Yes.
We're getting a lesson in the digestive system, right?
I will say this. The matches in USL were fun, but they were winning, right? They were a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
Last year and the start of this year, it's been just not good.
You also have that thing, even though they changed the crest and whatever. Yeah. You still have that thing where it's the same club, like in the sense that the same name and the colors are the same and all that stuff. It's the same club. This is obviously different because you are chopping off. You are basically cutting off the head of St. Louis FC and right. throwing the carcass away, and a brand new entity is entering the market. So maybe you're not the best person to speak with this, but I do think that it's interesting to wonder about the growth of American soccer and like if USL or a lower division league goes into a town. Is it just theirs? And therefore, Major League Soccer should be like, for the betterment of the game, let's not touch St. Louis.
But with Cincinnati, though, it's more than just the results. I know that's what makes Nick feel good. Yeah. But that team can hang their cap on the fan base brought them to the highest level.
Sure.
The way they supported their team, the way they went out there, the way that they show support for this team and its run. That was cool, man. And so whether they win or lose, I hope that fan base can hang their hat on that and become together around that in those times where it sucks.
Look, it's true. It shouldn't always be the majority rules.
Because all my team has is trophies. And it's
okay.
It's not. It feels weird.
Unfortunately, this is Los Angeles.
Oh,
I need more than talent.
Trophies and broken muscles. That's what you got right now. All right. What I was going to say is that it's not always great that majority rules, but most people in St. Louis are going to be happy with the MLS team, and no one's going to give a thought to what happened with St. Louis FC, and that's sad, right? On some level, that's sad. Let's get back to Lionel Messi, Jared. Okay, we've got a caller on the line. Jonathan in Atlanta wants to talk about this idea, and I haven't even laid out the fact that one of the reports says that Messi could sign with Manchester City, play for 3 years under Pep Guardiola at City, and then move to NYCFC. In Major League Soccer. Jonathan in Atlanta, you're on the air. What's up?
That's perfect. Exactly what I wanted to talk about. And when it comes to Lionel Messi and signing for a club like in one of those big cities like New York City or Los Angeles or Miami or something like that, I have to ask, honestly, at some point, is MLS going to be stuck in a scenario where we're looking at signing big stars from other leagues to these cities, or our teams, I'm going to sound like a big old doofus right now because I'm an Atlanta fan and obviously we've been spoiled, but other cities too can probably attest to this. Like they want stars too, and Atlanta, for example, we have in our short history that we already have, it would be great to have a big player come here. Maybe it's not in the cards for what we necessarily have, or what our site is for the future, but it kind of sucks. I'm just going to be honest with you, to see like Messi's defaulting to New York City FC, and I'm going to trigger some New York City FC fans right now. But how could you possibly see Messi playing on a baseball stadium? You know, like on that field that we've all seen has been like, maybe it's a little bit small. We don't know. You know, nobody knows really.
No, it's small. It's small.
And you know, we play in Atlanta. We play on bad turf.
Yeah.
You know, so
in a glorious
it's
building.
either neither here nor there, but.
Well, it is kind of the reflecting roof does make it look a little sphincterish, Jared.
It's a good call though.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna date a supermodel, don't pick her up in a Miata. You know, like you better bring a vehicle better than that. That being said, I think MLS has kind of 3 tracks. There's 3 tracks that teams can go on. There's the Dallas Philly track where it's develop talent, don't spend money, develop talent, put it into your youth, see where it gets you. There's the Atlanta, the Atlanta track, and maybe Miami is kind of going this track as well. It's like, get those young South Americans, grab those ones that are on the bargain out of Argentina and stuff like that, and fill it with some other youth as well, and grab 1 or 2, not high level, but good level names. Then there's the New York's and the LA's where it's grab the marquee player and hold on for dear life that everything else works at the salary cap.
What's interesting about that though is that some of the teams that you are throwing into those groups, I mean, I don't know where Seattle fits exactly because I don't think they're Atlanta, but they are kind of more Atlanta than they are.
More Atlanta.
Then
you got Ladero, you got Rui Diaz, Arce.
They're sort of like NYCFC has turned away from the big name stars. Right, they don't have any Villas and Pirlos and Lampards anymore.
Yeah,
and the Red Bulls did the same after the Thierry Henry era ended. They basically said like, we're not signing any big names anymore. We might go down to South America, get a Kaku.
I think Red Bull wants to do they're weird. They have the ability. They've shown the ability to develop talent.
Yeah,
they have.
Yeah,
but they also want to be the other tier where they spend money and try to bring a player in. I think they're caught in this weird mix right now where they don't know which one to be.
Well, so what Jonathan is talking about is more about the attractiveness of the cities than it is about the spending power of the teams, right? Because obviously New York City FC can spend, Red Bulls can spend.
Think Messi's coming here for Skyline Chili?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, is Messi going to come for is he going to, this is my presumption that a lot of people who don't live in the United States aren't from here. They know of 3 cities. Those 3 cities are New York, LA, and Miami. They don't know anything about anywhere else. They don't know about Skyline Chili. They don't know about barbecue in Kansas City and Texas. They don't know about any of that stuff, Jared. They don't know about Colorado. They barely know about Chicago at that, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe they'd be like, oh, the one from the Blues Brothers movie. Yeah, that's
where Obama's from, huh?
maybe the one where Obama's from. Maybe that's the case. I do think though that that's going to be the track, right?
But isn't this the exact scenario why you wanted Manchester City to buy into this league? Isn't this an amazing amazing piece of architecture that's happening right now?
So hold on. The logic is that if Lionel Messi lands in Major League Soccer because of a connection to Manchester City through NYCFC, then that justifies City Football Group buying into MLS because we got Messi one day.
It justifies that model because you've got premier level talent without having to put all the money in as an MLS club. It's divided and it's amortized over a certain number of years and shared by another entity.
Yeah.
In the end, you're going to get Messi.
Can I ask you a question? This is going to be more for everybody than just you. Let me throw a pick your poison at you because, again, we're considering the idea of Lionel Messi arriving in Major League Soccer at some point. And I think, obviously, his impact now would be impossibly immense. In 3 years, it would be very, very big, but slightly less. But if it was Lionel Messi, you want Lionel Messi in Major League Soccer. Okay, so your options are that or MLS raises the salary cap to $20 million per team. Which one are you taking?
You can afford him.
No, I'm
okay. I see what you mean.
I'm just saying, like you have a rule to allow from you pick Messi. They would have to make a rule for Messi anyway. But you have Messi and everything otherwise stays the same, or you get a $20 million salary cap for everybody in the league. Which one are you taking?
Man,
because
which one has a Galaxy fan, dude? So I see this different.
Well, which one has a bigger impact on overall quality across Major League Soccer, and therefore
quality is the $20 million. It absolutely is the $20 million.
Absolutely,
but There's something pretty dang hot about bringing Messi into this
That's
league.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. You want
Okay, is it okay? True or false?
this is like
Did
this is like
MLS from 2007 to 2014 increase in popularity and quality as a result of the Beckham experiment.
Yes.
I think so too.
Much is questionable, but yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
So, and that was Beckham, a guy that was more name than ability. You know,
at that point in his career, for sure. But
For sure.
yes, yeah.
This is mother effing Messi.
I know it's not Messi. I don't think there's any. By the way,
And we were just talking 2 weeks ago. After Ronaldo and Messi, there's no one.
No one.
You got Mbappe down there somewhere. You got Neymar somewhere down there.
Well,
you got dudes that are down there.
Yeah.
They're not Ronaldo. It's going to be a generation at least until you see another set of players at this level with the marketability, penetration, and ability.
Yeah.
That you could potentially bring to MLS. You might have to go for it, or you're waiting 10 to 15 years before you have anything even remarkably close.
Yeah, it's that one-off in the moment satisfaction, the explosion.
It's a unicorn.
It versus the more like steady, not even steady, more just like spread out everything. And I was going to compare it to sort of like you have a house. And you can either do small things around your house to raise its value, and you put, $500 in this and $500 in that, or you can go out and put in the hot tub and the pool. And if you already have the pool, Jared, because you live in Southern California, don't brag, don't tell us, don't put that in our faces. But it's like the big sexy thing that isn't ultimately going to give you all that much value well, it will, but it's questionable.
It's a hell of a ride, though, dude. It's a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get what you're saying, man. The answer to that question should be $20 million in salary cap.
So Connor has got an interesting question that I think we should add here and talk about. Connor's saying, let's say Messi does come to Major League Soccer. What if he turns into a Rafa Marquez and just shits on how bad the league is? First, I don't know that that's his personality, but it's possible. Let's say Messi comes and let's say he does Pirlo, who did crap on the league.
I'm gonna say Messi is a bit of okay, man. This is gonna be rough, and people are gonna flame me for this. Messi a bit of a quitter. Like how many times has he quit the Argentine national team when they didn't do well?
Whoa! But again, so wait, hold on.
He loses 8-2. I'm out.
Well, now we're getting into a question of whether or not the dysfunction stems from Messi's presence, or if Messi just ends up in dysfunctional situations. Because quitting, I mean, he's been at Barcelona for 20 years. Like, he's been there since he was little, since he was a mop of a dude.
I get it, but how many Argentina? I can think of at least 2 times when Argentina's lost. He's like, I'm retired from the national team.
Because that team was just effed from every direct. Like,
I'm just saying, dude seems to not persevere sometimes.
That is the hottest take. Whoa!
That makes me nervous. Okay, to answer your question, makes me nervous about him coming to MLS, because I could be like, I could see him. There could be a walkout and it has nothing to do with what happened tonight. It could be like, hey, this is crap.
By the way,
I'm out.
Let me say something. While it would certainly be distressing and a commentary on Major League Soccer and a shot at NYCFC and all the black marks that you want to give them, if Messi joined NYCFC and they were still playing at Yankee Stadium, which, by the way, 3 years is not enough time to build a stadium in New York.
It's still going to be it's still going to be a baseball stadium. It's
still going to be Yankee Stadium. As bad as that would look, you still take Lionel Messi coming to Major League Soccer.
But here's the thing: is signing Messi and the windfall for NYFC that's going to come with the result of jersey sales like that, is that enough to get a deal done in New York? Is that enough to put a piece of paper at the front and somewhere in City Hall?
Lionel Messi can move the mountains at City Hall and get the stadium built? I don't know about that. No, I don't know. I don't think
what's holding him back right now. I don't know what's holding him back, but couldn't it be a lever?
It could be a lever. It could be. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Again, it's going to take 5 years from the moment you decide to build the stadium before they're even getting to the point of, hey, maybe we can play there. It's at least 5 years. So every day that passes, you have to think about that, right? And if Messi does somehow come to Major League Soccer through this deal with Manchester City, and he's here in 3 years, he's already 36. If it takes 5 years to get the joint built in New York, well, now he's 38. Is he still even playing? And if he is playing, what is he at that point? And now Lionel Messi never touches the field
as a home player in New York and a soccer stadium. He's always playing in a baseball stadium. And there's lots of reasons why this won't happen or probably won't happen. And there's still, who knows if he's actually going to sign with Manchester City. But clearly, you take Lionel Messi any way you can take Lionel Messi, right? You do.
I mean, well, your argument makes me like think that $20 million thing was a good argument because it really makes me think for a second, but that ain't on the table.
Well,
so I'm taking Messi.
Well, but it's not. But here's the thing. And again, I don't know what it's like in 3 years, and maybe he takes the massive pay cut that we've seen some players take when they come over. But the reports are that his annual salary is something like $90 million a year.
Dude,
okay.
Endorsements.
Well, there's a bunch of things built in. There's some image rights and everything else, but it's at least 60 mil for pure salary, for pure I play for Barcelona salary. So if you are taking that amount of money and spending it on one player, wouldn't it be better, smarter as a league if you're going to spend? That's the thing though. That money doesn't exist unless Lionel Messi comes. Because
what's the right player? Who's the right player at 30 to 33 years old? That is the right player to bring over for better money right now to MLS.
Didn't Lionel Messi?
Yeah.
Nobody. Not even Ronaldo.
But you're saying that it's so much money. Like, who's the right player then?
What I'm also saying is that the money, the $20 million across the board for every team, or raising the salary cap so they can spend that does not exist without, that money doesn't exist. If it's not like they go, oh, Lionel Messi's not coming, oh, we'll go spend it on the rest of the teams. That's not going to happen, right? So there's no even.
What's the most Argentinian city in the U.S.?
Where do they have like all of the
Boca Raton?
Did you just say Boca Raton?
I'm just saying. Well, like, can we? They're talking about it. Give us. That's what got Beckham here as part of it, right? He got a exclusive expansion, ability to come in at a lower amount.
Yeah. No, so
I don't know that Messi is Messi a mogul?
I think he's got people around him who want him to be a mogul. I think that's definitely true. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This is it's all speculation. It's all wild. We should talk about the other big thing that's happened in American soccer today.
Okay. Can I say my joke? Can I say my pun?
I saw it already on. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You do your thing.
Weston McKinney.
Yeah,
I said it.
I don't know that I'm on board with that. I think
kill everything fun.
I think maybe. Well, I was. Isn't West Torino better?
Well, it depends how you want to say it. Like West Torino.
West Torino. See, it's more like Torino sounds.
I could get down with West Torino.
Okay. Holden says that if Weston goes to Juve, he needs a drop. Love that someone with a player profile of Pirlo wants Weston, wants to hype a player like Weston. So this is the thing, right? It's out of the blue, Jared. And tell me, you tell me how surprised you were today to hear that Juve.
Can you name another player that one day was going to be Southampton and the next day is Juve?
Well, I'm sure it's happened in the past some point. I'm sure I don't know. I'm
definitely out of the blue. It's funny. I sent this message I linked to this to my brother this morning. So he woke up to it and he was just sick to his stomach with the idea of this because there's so many midfielders at Juve that he would be competing against.
Who? Name them for me.
Well, I mean, you've got what's the German guy? Khedira. He's probably
leaving.
Okay.
Khedira's leaving.
Khedira's
left, right?
We were debating this. So if you want me to quote names, I got to get my list out.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that Betancourt's there. I can tell you that Pjanic is moving to Barcelona, right? That was part of the swap.
Yeah. So you've got Arthur, Rabiot, Betancourt, Ramsey, Khedira was leaving. Let's see.
Obviously, Rabiot, Arthur.
There's a guy named Cristiano Ronaldo.
He's not. Yeah, he's not going to be competing in that area of the field. But and this is one thing about Weston is that they like his versatility. That's one thing. And the thing about Weston McKennie is that he is good at many things, but he's not great at anything. So it's okay. What kind of player is he? What kind of player could he be if he was settled in the position?
So is it an American thirst trap? Is it a signing for the sake of getting an American over there, sell some jerseys, get some pub?
No,
that's what we all feared when. This is back again with Pulisic. Okay, a lot of people didn't like the Chelsea move because it was a American great hope going to a place where he's going to fight for playing time and maybe never see.
Yeah, but that was just American insecurity coming out.
Come on, dude, you didn't believe it at all.
No, that they want.
You always thought he was Chelsea level, that he'd be able to fight for a place and win a spot.
Well,
no matter what.
No. I didn't know if he was gonna. I didn't know if he was gonna get a ton of time or that it was gonna be great for his career. But I did think that they were buying him because he's a good player, not because he was going to sell shirts.
Okay.
I did think that was, I don't think you drop 55, 60
So if
million.
I asked you, pick a team that's the top level of Weston McKennie as you've seen him, would Juve been on your list?
No.
Me either. And that's what I'm saying. And that's the part that's odd to me is that's where he's going. Now, granted, it's a sweet deal. It's a loan with an option to buy. So for Juve, it's very no pressure to do this. The pressure's on Weston McKennie to perform and work his way into the team.
Yeah. I don't know. I've only absorbed some information from people reporting on it. Essentially, what I've heard is that the numbers work out so that it's kind of dumb if Juve doesn't buy him, that they don't actually benefit, and that the loan structure is largely about financial fair play at the moment because they have a ton of big signings on their books that they obviously have to meet with revenue before they can move on and sign a player for another big bunch of cash. So this may not be like a low risk thing because we're structuring it as a loan. It may literally be we can't sign a player for $30 million right now or 25 million euros or whatever it is because of financial.
So the Jason Davis take on this, that they're buying him to play. They're buying him to they see him as a function of their team.
If you mean play as in he'll be in the squad most of the time and there's a chance he'll get spot starts and that he'll get some minutes off the bench, yes, that's what I think is going to happen.
Do you think that is it better for Weston McKennie? And this is a pick your poison for you. I got to pick your poison for you.
This is the money.
West Torino.
Yep. By the way, West Torino sounds like a place in California that people definitely live.
It does. It's where they make all the porn.
Is that? Hold on, that's not right for.
Damn,
I don't think Weston wants to be connected to that at all. So we just have to.
I'm sure not. My bad on that. So the question for you is: would you rather have him at Juve battling for a spot, or at Southampton as a legit piece of their starting lineup?
Yeah, okay.
We put that to the chat too while you're thinking. If anyone in the chat wants to answer that too.
The pick your poison for everybody listening right now is Weston McKennie at Southampton, where he's guaranteed to get a lot more playing time. Again, he'll be mid-table. Southampton.
And I'll be frank with you. With Christian Pulisic, I would have said Southampton instead of Chelsea. I would have said that a year ago because I thought, he'll get minutes no matter what. He'll be a big part of that system.
Okay, all right.
Not knowing that he was going to kill it as much as he did the last 4 months.
Not knowing he was at that level necessarily. Obviously, Southampton also has that element of that they're a squad that develops players very well. I mean, they've Liverpool doesn't win a championship without Southampton. I mean, they probably should be sending not checks. They should be sending medals over there just to display because without Virgil van Dijk and without some of the other signings that they got from Southampton, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That being said, I will say I think it's Juve because we just don't have many American players. How many American players have we had at big clubs and actually in the squad being a major part of it? Timmy Howard at Manchester United. Now Christian Pulisic at Chelsea. And I'm not trying to hate on Borussia Dortmund, but it's obviously a different kind of team. This is different level. This is top 20 in the world club level. So for an American to be there and
make the case that Chelsea might be on the fringe of that.
Okay, that's true. Well, that's all I'm saying though. It's like 3 or 4 players.
Yeah,
that have done it. We're gonna pause this for a second, Jared, because I want to get to we had a caller, and I want to get to this caller. Very important stuff. Warren Creval of the Philadelphia Union is on the line with us now, calling the Best Soccer Show. Warren, how are you, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing good. We started our show tonight right about 9:00 Eastern time, and obviously we're kind of sort of responding to what's happened across Major League Soccer tonight with players striking, deciding not to play. Obviously, the NBA, this also happened today. Just tell me what your thoughts are here, with this moment and with Major League Soccer's response to it.
Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, I'm really proud, of the Bucks, for getting the ball rolling and, our league, in addition to the WNBA, just standing in solidarity with that, shifting the focus from sports to, human rights. I think that's what's most important in this moment.
So, Warren, give us a little peek behind the curtain here. Obviously, Union's not playing tonight, so I'm not sure how in the conversation you and other players at the Union were tonight, but from your sense of it, or maybe conversations you've had with other players that did have games tonight, How does this go down? Is this like text between players at different clubs? How does this messaging, how does this conversation take place among the players?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've gotten really good at communicating really effectively. It's been something, since the BPC's been, started, that has been a huge tool for us. And you have allies, captains on teams reaching out to players, leadership of the BPC, getting their take on it, seeing where we stand, and, taking that stand with us has been really beautiful to see. And that's how these things start. It's really organic.
No, look, I mean, obviously there was some messaging, some things done in Orlando during MLS's back, and things that have carried over. But of course, the action of kneeling or the shirt that you designed and all that stuff, that's great, but it hasn't really changed anything. And I think we're all very aware of that. And it's going to take a lot more hard work to do that. So when you see the NBA players expressing their frustration over this and needing to take further action, and Major League Soccer, with a slightly smaller stage, but still with some power here, what's the next step? I mean, is it just one night of, hey, we're striking to bring attention to this, and again, what happened in Kenosha and everything else, or is there something else down the line?
To be honest with you, there's no grand plan, that went into, stepping up today. We have to take things one day at a time, and we just knew that it was the right step to take to not play today. And you're absolutely right. Nothing has changed. I was having a conversation with one of my teammates, saying, how many t-shirts need to be made? How many, statements need to be made before there's change? We keep watching Black people die at the hands of police, brutality at the hands of police, and civilians for that matter. And it's just been really disheartening to see, really disgusting to see. And at this point, it's super frustrating, because you're asking yourself, what does it take to change? And I don't have those answers, but collectively, and individually, I know we all have to take our steps to further the message and further the action, and come together to ideate as a group.
Warren, a little bit of talking that Jason and I had earlier in the evening tonight around who makes the decision, and as a player, would you rather this come from the players, or would you like to see the league step up and have done their own work tonight and canceled these games on their own? Or is it better if it comes from the players?
No, I think we would have loved to have seen the league step up. I think there was opportunity to after the NBA did, and it had to come from the players. If it didn't come from the players, it wouldn't have happened. Obviously, you saw, the first game kickoff. So that's very telling within itself. But yeah, we would have loved to see the league, make a strong statement, stronger than what they initially put out. And, they had the statement saying that they made the decision to postpone the games. That decision was made for them by the players, and to your other question, maybe it's more powerful that it is coming from the players. But without a doubt, we would love to see the league step up and act on their own.
Warren, we'll let you go after this. Obviously this is a much bigger issue. This is about violence against Black people in the United States. It's about cops and people dying. And that's a big thing. That's way bigger than soccer, but you're working within the group with other Black players in Major League Soccer to try to bring change specifically to your sport and specifically to the league you play in. What, how has the response been? What have the conversations been like? Just how do you feel about the work that's been done to this point with you and your colleagues in Major League Soccer?
It's encouraging to say the least, but yeah, we exist in this realm of soccer, but it's much bigger than that. Yeah, we want to make changes within this soccer world, but if we're getting gunned down the street, it doesn't matter that we play soccer. It doesn't matter that we're on TV. Once we leave the stadium, we're just another Black athlete, another Black person, I should say. So yes, it's good that we're making strides, within the league, but if that doesn't carry over into society, then, that's not the goal.
Warren Creval for the Philadelphia Union jumping on with us here on a Wednesday night. Warren, thank you very much for it, man. Keep up the good work. And anytime you want to talk to us or you need a platform of something to talk about, you need a place to come and talk about it, you hit us up.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Thanks for taking the call, guys.
There goes Warren Creval, Jared. And I mean,
on a tough night, man, to come out and take a few minutes for us, that's very welcome, and it's good to get a peek behind the curtain and see what you can hear it in his voice, man. This dude's down, man. It's asking that guy. I mean, obviously he didn't have a game tonight. Yeah. What if he did, man? Listen to this guy's voice. Like you can hear it in the voice of this man. He's done. Mm-hmm. He's done, man. Like the league's got to listen as well. And I'm glad that he said that. I didn't know if he would actually come out and say he wished the league would have done. I'm glad he felt comfortable enough to say that. And that's the way I feel like it's in their hearts. But I don't know if a lot of players feel like they can come up and say that.
I'm going to repeat this again. I've said it before on this show, and I've said it in other forums. I can't know what it's like to be black in America. I'm not. I'm a white guy in America. I have a different experience. I am not going to sit here and say that anybody who's black is wrong for how they feel, especially when these things, again, continue to happen. And I think the most important thing for us to do, for you and me, and for a lot of our listeners who cannot understand what it's like to be black in America, is to try to empathize as far as you can and to give your ear and your effort and whatever it takes to these people who are saying important things, who are saying, hey, look, when I go out, this is my experience. Yeah. I was just reading, I don't even know which player it was, but I was just reading an anecdote from a Portland Trailblazers player who said that he left the stadium, had his kids in the car, is driving out, and the lights go on behind him. And he knows right away, okay, this is what's happening here. And he gets his license out and he's putting his hands on the wheel and he's rolling down the windows so the cops see the kids. So maybe they are less aggressive with him because of the kid. I mean, this is what
statement alone.
That's it. And yeah. And you know what happens? The police officer takes his license. He says, is this your car? Is this your car? And the guy's like, of course it's my car. Or he says, yes, officer, it's my car. Cause he has to be respectful. Cause he knows, right? Yeah. Gives him his license, his registration. The cop goes back to his cop car, comes back and says, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. So-and-so basketball player who I clearly recognize now from the Portland Trail Blazers. We had some reports of robberies in the area. You go get them tonight. Go beat whoever you're playing tonight. And the dude's like, yo, you treated me like a lesser person. You treated me like a criminal because of the color of my skin. You made a presumption about what I was doing in this car. And then as soon as you find out I'm a basketball player, you treat me differently.
Yeah, guess what? Soccer players ain't getting that luxury.
No, not most places. Not most places.
So again, I really appreciate Warren taking the time to come on. Tough night, and it means a lot that he was willing to do that. And that's one of the reasons I love having a live show. I know we could do this in the dark. We could do this just you and I. Oh, but I enjoy the calls that we got tonight for all sorts of different topics. I enjoy the ability to take a call like that on the fly and actually really get the pulse of what's going on in our sport tonight.
Yeah, we will continue to talk about, especially if it goes down very soon, this Weston McKennie to Juventus situation and how he does fit in that midfield, Jared. And again, worried about it. Southampton could have been an option. And this is what I'm going to ask you. We've already kind of taken it from, as a fan, which would you rather him do? Go to Southampton, get more minutes, develop, maybe get a big move later on, or go to the giant club where, of course, he's going to have a lot more notoriety, but he might not get as many minutes. But I'm going to say this. How do you say no to Juventus if you're Weston McKennie? How do you say no?
Yeah, like how do you take the kids back to the farm once they've seen the big city? Yeah, that's a tough thing, man. Hey,
the Amish go back all the time. They go on, what's it called again?
Rumspringa.
They go on Rumspringa and then they go back and they build barns and everything's good again. They milk some cows.
You tell a kid like Weston McKennie that's growing up watching Cristiano Ronaldo his whole life and says, how'd you like to put on the same kid as him? How'd you like to practice with him? How'd you like to play a 1-2 with him?
Yeah.
How do you that you're putting out the most addictive drug on earth to a person that's an addict?
Do you think that on the first day of training with Weston McKennie ends up at Juve, do you think he goes and he clears out Paulo Dybala or for Cristiano Ronaldo.
Man, that's one of those things. Like in prison, you're supposed to like shank someone your first
That's
day,
what I'm
right? To
saying.
show them you mean business.
You've
But
got to clear somebody
in
out.
prison, that person's not worth like $200 million.
You might not get sent packing because you hurt a person in prison. You get sent packing, you break Cristiano Ronaldo's leg. Please be careful, Chris.
What up, Nikki?
Well,
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest topics that maybe I missed it today because I'll be honest, I'm not on social media like it seems like everybody else in America is these days.
Things that Nicky Soup and Sausage does not do. He does not do social media. He does not watch movies that we have all seen, and he does not drink soda or alcohol. He's just that's who Nicky Soup and Sausage.
Interesting. It's an interesting trifecta. What's up, Nick?
Well, I think the part that's going overlooked here, right? If he goes to Juve, he's going to be coached by one of the best midfielders to ever play the game.
This is true.
Whether he plays or not, he's going to be under the tutelage of
Pirlo. It'd almost be like going to the X-Men Academy and become like if Weston McKennie becomes a Pirlo down the line, like there would be a transformation that nobody sees coming. Right?
I mean, you literally have Pirlo and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Pirlo and Ronaldo. Like you said it right. The X-Men Academy is always the teachers are the former like X-Men themselves, you know.
Yeah.
So and Cristiano Ronaldo's still doing it. So
does that make Pirlo Professor X? Is that what happened? Did I just do that? Was that where we were going with that? Or
he's got much more of a gambit to me. That hair.
Okay. All right.
This would be more like me going to intern for Baba Booey. Learn from the best.
I see what that was.
There we go. And that's my cue to exit the show. Thank you very much.
So one other thing, just one other move that happened in the transfer market this last week that I want to talk about. That's real quick. That's Anthony Robinson going to Fulham, and I think we briefly maybe mentioned it on the last show.
I think we did. I think we did.
In light of the move to Juve potentially for Weston McKennie,
yeah,
is it a bit of a letdown that Anthony Robinson was signed with AC Milan in January and now he's at Fulham?
Yeah, but I mean, he wouldn't have played at all in Milan. He would have been on the bench, stuck to it.
So you say AC Milan's in the habit of just putting charity out there and bringing people in?
Well, I mean, I think that Weston McKennie's closer to playing time at Juventus than Anthony Robinson was with AC Milan. I think that was a cheap move for a backup player. And yeah, I mean, look, it's disappointing, I guess. I mean, it would have been great to have Anthony Robinson at AC Milan, but I also want him to play, and he is going to be in the Premier League.
Well,
so
there's potentially a top-level American playing in Italy. That doesn't happen.
No, and we haven't. I mean,
since Alexi lost the last.
No. Michael Bradley was in.
I forgot about I forgot about his time at the Flying Donkeys.
He was at Roma for a little while too.
Yeah, but before that, who was the other one?
He was.
Started with a V.
Yeah, we'll have to pull it.
Verona or something like that.
Yeah, maybe Verona. It was Verona. If you knew your Shakespeare, you would have remembered it right away because that's.
I did know it. That's why I said it.
Oh, I see.
The Gentleman of Verona, Michael Bradley.
Real quick, we'll wrap up with this, just because we want to be positive here, and I'm excited about this generation. This could potentially, and everybody's saying this is very close to being done, but this could potentially be Christian Pulisic at Chelsea, Giovanni Reina at Borussia Dortmund. Okay, it's not Bayern Munich, but it's the second biggest club in Germany. It could be Weston McKennie at Juventus. It could be Serginho Dest at Ajax, maybe with a big club
maybe
future.
Bigger than that.
Yeah. I mean, just think about
maybe Chris Richards at Bayern.
Maybe if he breaks through this coming year, sure. Chris Richards is highly thought of. It's very, very possible. All right, I think
maybe Conrad de Guzman Conrad de la Fuente at Barcelona.
Yeah, Conrad de la Fuente. Yes.
Do you still count Tim Weah in this?
Tim Weah is at Lille. Lille's an ambitious club, but they're not a giant club.
He just has to be healthy for a month.
Yeah, stop getting hurt, Tim. They're starting. By the way, they're starting now. League is starting. League is starting now. So they're getting there. They're getting going. He might get some playing time shortly, although I think they're going to build up to that. All right, that's it. We got to run. Thank you to Warren Craval. Thank you for everybody who called in. Very, very interesting show. I think informative show, illuminating show, fun show in certain parts. Mr. Dubois.
We'll talk to you guys Sunday night, and we'll see if we have any soccer to talk about at that point.
Anything else you want to add, Nicky Soup and Sausage? You're going to Baba Booey us? Okay. Nope. He's just thumbs up. He's out of here. All right. That's going to do it for us, guys. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye.
Damn, dog, that's an approach.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
I wouldn't be caught dead in a sweater vest.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom.
Bw'o ba, throw it back, 45 minutes.
Duh and or hello.
Danger zone! Oh, it's incredible! Che stava Camilo! Eddie, what have you done for me lately? Get to the chopper!
Ja. Zu viel Respekt für den Gegner.
Get to the chopper!
Jay Rodius.